Welcome in to another episode of the My Two Bits Gators Football Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ben, joined as always by your other host, Mr. Randy. Randy, it's been a couple days. You've had some time to process. How you feeling?
Let's go with agnostic and the reality, the denial, the anger, the bargaining has set in. Acceptance, but yeah, we're almost there. I'll just say that.
All right. All right, good. Well, that's progress. We're progressing through. That's good. It's always healthy. And
Yes.
and welcome to your weekly therapy for
Yes,
both
thank
you
you.
and all the Gator Nation out there. Here we go again. Hopefully one of the last times we get to do this under the Napier regime. We'll see if that happens or not. But there's
Oh,
an awful lot of talk about it, so we'll see how that goes. But
got it.
tonight we will of course be reviewing our game this weekend with Florida West, also known as Texas A&M, but Florida West for those that don't know. And as always, we'll start things off here with our intro, our mission, our accuracy disclaimer, our vision, and our agenda. Our mission is to provide factual analysis of all things Florida Gator football. Our accuracy disclaimer is that our information will be accurate to the best of our possible ability. We will cite our sources whenever we use them, and all statistical data comes from either ESPN or stats.ncaa.org, and recruiting data comes from on3.com unless otherwise noted. Our vision is to have unfiltered conversation around the product on the field, as well as recruiting and overall coaching decisions, or lack thereof. Our analysis will be based on review of film, and while we will express opinion, that opinion should always be based in some form of fact. We will also evaluate strategy and tactics and discuss our observation of player personnel decisions, as well as on-the-field execution. All right. So, as always, our agenda tonight will consist of our My section. We'll go through the exciting plays from the game, betting those are mostly going to come from early in the game. But we'll go through there. And then we'll talk about the offense in the Chomp segment, the defense in Gator Bait. We will then go through our visor throws segment, talking about our gripes from the game, our complaints and such. Then we'll discuss recruiting in the hatchling segment, give you an update there, talk about culture and pride of the Sunshine, and then officiating review with Move Back, You Suck. And finally, wrap things up, talk about where we go from here, if anybody knows. And then, of course, play Keep It or Pitch It for this week's game with Mississippi State. I will then also review the results from the Sims this week that are starting to get more accurate. We're getting there. We're making progress because they called A&M very much on point. So glad to see some improvement there after a rough start to those. So we'll see how it goes for this week with Mississippi State. So with that, let's get things started with our My section. What do you got for exciting plays, my man?
You know what? Believe it or not, this was actually tough for me. I had listed several really good plays
Yep.
that I saw. I will do my best not to cheat, but do you mind if I make some just mention a couple plays?
Sure.
Um,
Do what you want to do, man. I don't care.
I appreciate. Hey, I'm trying to be good, B. Trying to be good. Um, Love a chase down tackle by Devin Moore on the opposite side of the field on Reed, which was really good. Doman actually pulled off a Coffin's corner punt. Love to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I love to see three of the back shoulder passes to VB3 to Wilson. Awesome. But here's where I'm sticking as far as my my's. First one, second play from scrimmage. DJ almost brought down for a sack, stays upright, sidearm throw to VB3. How he stayed up, I don't know, but it kind of reminds me of the Lagway campaign in 2024.
Yeah.
Seems like he was getting tackled, hit, pulled down in the swamp there against LSU, and he managed to make a sidearm throw that probably has a 8.27%, yes, I made that up, chance of actually being completed. So phenomenal effort to stay up because he started the game really hot. Obviously, he had the mojo, he had the rhythm going, the footwork was there, but to see him almost get brought down by a very good defender, and just take it, absorb the blow, do the sidearm deal, phenomenal throw. Florida's second possession resulted in a punt, but did you see the coverage on the punt?
I
A
did. I
gr-
did. Really nice. Really nice. I know exactly what you're talking about.
yep, so that's who I'm calling out. Michael Caraway Jr. Like, what?
All
Who is
right.
that? Right? great addition this past off season. Here's the thing. He did a great job getting downfield. And when you look at where he was positioning wise, great job to get release off of his defender and make a great tackle on the ankles of Concepcion. I feel like I'm in a daytime Latin drama saying his name. But anyways, it was what it was because there was nobody else behind him for 10, 15 yards. That would have been a big return. And Caraway Jr. stepped up big to stop him. He caught the ball at the 19, dragged him back to the 17, and that's where they spotted him. So great job there. And
you got me going on the daytime Latin drama, buddy. That was
seriously
killer.
Concepcion, I tell you. Anyways, UF's third possession. You're right, all in the first quarter for me. But UF's third possession, ball running the ball to the left side. You know where I'm going with this. Vicious stiff arm, stayed on his feet. Very gritty. Probably only should have gotten 5 to 6 yards on the play. Ended up getting a first down, 10, 11 yards. Phenomenal job. And also, I got a fun fact for you, B. I know you love fun facts. Ball is tied third right now in FBS with forcing 42 missed tackles this season.
42. So, holy cow. Great stat. Yep. Love it.
Yep. Love it. So there, those are my my's, my man. What do you have?
Wow. Super, super interesting. We have 3 different plays. That does not normally happen.
Wow.
But I guess
it
with
does
a game,
exist.
It does. But I guess with a game like this, and technically I think you did kind of call one out an honorable mention, but
yeah, sure.
but only one really. Well, maybe kind of two. I don't know. We'll see. But the little generalized on the back shoulder idea. So I'm not sure if one of these really qualifies as that. But nonetheless, overall, for the 3 you picked versus the 3 I picked, they are different. So very, very unusual. We normally have a lot of linemen here, a little different.
Amazing.
So, I know, a little weird. So third drive, pass to VB3 for a 31-yard gain. Not anything to really get over the moon about, but when you really break this play down, it kind of is, because one of, if not Lagway's best ball of the night. If it wasn't his best, it was close, is what I'm trying to say. If I can actually elocute words properly, we'll see. But perfect accuracy on the touch and on the throw itself. And an outstanding catch by Vernell to keep concentration with the corner having excellent coverage, and even looking back and trying to make a play on the ball. He took a nice swipe at it, but missed, and none of that mattered. VB3 came down with it, rolled over, held possession. Great work. Continues to be impressive. Once again, the leading receiver in this game. Just really, really great stuff out of him, game in and game out. Obviously, with him and Wilson, you have a powerful freshman receiving duo there. Really excited to see them continue to work as the season goes on. No matter what else happens, they're just fun to watch. So it's great. So that's number 1. Number 2, another freshman call out. Wonder who this might be. It's going to be Dallas Wilson. Beautiful TD grab on the third drive as well. Another nice ball by Lagway, well positioned where only his receiver could make a play on it, right? And that's exactly what Dallas did. Great work to not only secure the catch, but to get the foot down inbounds for the 6. I mean, the kid it does not look like a guy who's playing his second game in college out there. He is so aware, so in control of what he's doing. I mean, just really, really impressive stuff. As mentioned, these two are just both phenomenal, and I'm going to keep calling them out because I just love watching it. It's great. We just need to get them the ball more, but we'll talk about that later. Lastly, we give credit when it's due on this podcast, or at least I like to think we do. And we often talk about Jordan Castell not doing things so well. But he's going to get some love from me here on an outstanding interception in the end zone early in the fourth quarter of this game. He read the quarterback appropriately from his kind of deep safety position, no pun intended, right? He's kind of playing very much a safe zone back there, right? Which is what he's supposed to be doing. And he reads it well, cheats to that side of the field correctly, breaks on the ball, and then makes a heck of a catch to not only get the ball, but keep, again, a foot in bounds so that he secures the interception in the back of the end zone, and we get the turnover. Really, really solid stuff. That's the kind of play that I expect to see out of our safeties here. and out of this group. And that's what we need to see more of, quite frankly. Castell really struggled mightily the beginning of last year, more than the beginning, most of last year, and then came on a little bit at the end of the year. And we hope to see that kind of transition for him to start off this season. Right. I can't say that it has. And unfortunately, I have not seen anything. I won't say that it's been horrible, but it's been very mid for me on film with what I've seen. A couple things here and there that were good, several things that were not, including in this game where he and Thornton get combo cooked by Mario Craver. But yeah, not good. And really, it's more on Castell than Thornton on that play, because he's the one who's responsible for the over-the-top ball and doesn't secure it. But regardless, again, credit where it's due. Really nice play, really good stuff. So with that, let's move on. Let's hit up offense. Chomp segment. Here we go. First and foremost, quarterback rating. Once again, for those who may not be aware, we use the NFL rating, not the college rating. Anything over 100 is good. It's not to say, though, that anything under 100 is bad, and I say that because Lagway's rating in this game was a 94.99, so very close to what we consider good. I can't quite call it good, but it really wasn't, certainly not bad, right? Really decently solid game here when you look at the numbers in terms of what he was able to do. Obviously, a lot of that came from that first quarter production, and then it kind of went down from there. I would argue his first quarter rating was probably close to perfect when you look at what he was able to do in that first quarter. So also, when you take out the sack yardage, because Lagway did not have one carry, nor scramble, nor designed run, nothing, right, in this game, and he had 3 sacks. So I removed the sack yardage, 4.43 yards per carry in this game. Really not bad. Really not bad at all, especially when you look at how poorly we ran the ball in the second half. Really pretty solid stuff overall. Really could have been and should have probably been better, but nonetheless, 4.43, you can't get mad at that. And the reason we do that, by the way, I feel like I should talk to that. I don't pull that out to make the number better, and we don't leave it in to make the number worse for the other team, right? We do it based on what makes sense for the number in the game. If you have a mobile quarterback, we typically leave the sack number in because it's very hard to pull it out to know how many scrambles he had or designed runs, right? You don't always get that information separate. So that's why we typically leave it in. If you have a non-mobile quarterback, we take it out because it's not an indication of what actual rushing yards per carry were, because sack yardage is deducted from the total in college. So that's the reason why we do that. And I feel that's an important distinction here. It's not just on a whim, right? Typically we would leave it in with DJ, but again, in this game, no scramble yardage, no designed runs. So his sack yardage needs to come out because it's not an indicator of what the really actual yards per carry were in this game. So hopefully that makes sense. Moving along. Houston, we have an offense. I said this last week. Oh, wait. That's only the first quarter. Never mind. In all seriousness, no. First quarter, very solid, right? I love the execution, loved how we took advantage of what the defense was showing us, right? And then how we did things that actually made sense against it for the most part. That's awesome. That's what we want to see. Then Elko and Bateman adjusted. And we did exactly the same things we were doing in the first quarter. We had no counter whatsoever. And that's what drives us nuts, right? The rest of the game happened, and where do you even start? For me, it begins for this team, as it does for any team, with the blocking up front, right? So let's start there. We're going to talk about it. We already did on Saturday with the first bites, but they just stopped getting it done after the first couple of drives. Lagway was under duress constantly from there on out in the game, and it clearly affected his throws and comfort level throughout the rest of the game, as it would for almost any quarterback. I understand that part of being an elite quarterback is being able to deal with the pressure, respond, right? Get out of the pocket if you need to, right? All those things. But when you are under constant duress, and I get constant might be a stretch, but it was a lot. When you're dealing with that as a quarterback, it is extremely hard to continue to make the right read and the right throw quickly, right? Without very much time to process at all, consistently. Right. And he still did it sometimes, but he couldn't do it as often, which again, to me is completely understandable. I don't think many quarterbacks can really do that, if almost any, to be real. And that's not to defend and say that he played the rest of the game perfectly or anything. No, he didn't. But ultimately, that makes it a lot harder on your quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Next point, play calling. As I already mentioned, once again, you can't react to changes by the defense. So Elko made a bit of what I interpreted to be snarky comment at the half. He stated how they didn't change their defense after the first couple of drives when we were lighting them up. I don't know if you heard this. It was no, we didn't change it. And then the announcer finally kind of gets all flustered and says, okay, so I guess you just executed better. And he's like, yep. And here's the thing, though. You did change. It may not have been a concept change. It may not have even been a coverage change. Because what was started off in this game, and this I can tell from watching the film that I have, right? I don't need the all 22 to see this. But when you started up, you were playing mostly man in what looked like cover one most often. However, you were absolutely started off in this game playing press man. And press man means, right, the corner is up near the line of scrimmage, right, within a couple of yards, if not right on the line of scrimmage, pressing the receiver when they come off the ball. That's where we were cooking them early. That's where our guys kept winning at the line, getting past their DBs, and Lagway was able to hit them over the top on all the throws that Randy kind of alluded to, right? Sturdivant had one. Obviously, VB3 had one that I mentioned. I believe
yes.
Trey might have had one at one point. It was Trey got by on a slant, and then Wilson had another one later in the game too that wasn't the touchdown. So this is what was working and what was causing us to have success. So he said they didn't change. Lies. Not true. They absolutely changed because they stopped playing press man. They were still playing a lot of man. They were still, in all likelihood, or I shouldn't say likelihood, in all possibility, playing a lot of cover one. Again, I can't see that. I don't have the visibility without the all 22 to see that far back on the field and know what the safeties are doing. However, I can say, okay, you were in the same concept, Elko, but you were not playing it the same way. Those corners started playing 7, 8, 9 yards off the receivers after those first 3 drives. They 100% did, and they continued to do it for the rest of the game. And it changed what we were able to do because those routes that were getting open vertically or deep down the middle were not open anymore because the corners were able to keep up better with the receivers. And then, of course, you had the pass rush coming into play as well. So not exactly true with what you said. And I feel that's important to throw out because it's where I'm going with this point is the defense made an adjustment. And they did adjust, at least to a degree, and we couldn't do anything to combat this change, which is, of course, expected if you've ever watched Billy Napier run an offense. He doesn't have wrinkles. He doesn't have variations to his plays to make things easier or make them work better. And this has always been the problem when we run into a good defensive team or coordinator that changes what they do, or just schemes for us well from the start. See Miami last year. And then we can't make ourselves or our offense do anything different because it doesn't exist. We don't have it. It's the same story we have been telling over and over and over again since I can't even remember, since we started this podcast, really. And Billy expects the team to just execute better, in quotes here, right? But ultimately, you have to do things to help your players. Like, for example, change your pass protection scheme when your left tackle is getting smoked like Texas brisket. Just a thought, right? That's just one of many examples that I could name over the course of 3.5 years. So I'll leave it there. What do you got for offense, my man?
Good deal. I like your takes there. Very good. Well warranted. Yeah. That's the thing. When you look at it, it's funny as we look at QBR, a lot of emphasis or a lot of points scoring, right? Weight on TDs positively, a lot of weight on INTs negatively. Hence why Reed's, Lagway scored what he scored. We'll get to Reed here in a second. But even at, like you said, with the yards per carry at 4.43, more than respectable.
Yes, agreed.
So, Lagway was 21 of 37, right? 56.8%. Not ideal, but 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He took care of the ball when he could, how he could. And that's the other thing, too, that I think people have to understand is the fact of whether his coach/offensive coordinator is not giving him help, the O-line is not offering much help. he is having to process at a faster rate. And at the end of the day, when you got a lot of things to take care of, you could be like that halftime performer coming out on the unicycle, spinning 7 plates. That's what he's doing. Like, and God help him for it. So, anyways, to that end, overall first downs, 15 first downs, A&M at 19. So not a terrible discrepancy there. Net rushing yards, however, 74 to 183. 70.
So if you take the sack yardage out, it does go to 93 for the record, but still.
Yes. Exactly. So you've got that. So great. Total offensive yards, 319 yards, right? To 417. So there is almost a 100-yard discrepancy there. So that is what it is. And then outside of that, the other unique thing about what we did or didn't do on Saturday night, we are top, I want to say top 20 in the nation, top 15 in the nation when you look at time of possession, right?
Time of possession. Yep.
We only possessed the ball for 26 minutes to 33 minutes for Florida West, which, the abbreviation is TAMU. I'm going to be really nasty and call it TAMU because, well, anyways, I'll just leave that there. Not really a discrepancy in the first quarter, 7 minutes and 57 to 7:03. Second quarter, 8:01 to 7. Third quarter, 6:53 to 8:07. But the fourth quarter is what it came down to be 3 minutes and 27 seconds time of possession for the Gators and 11:33 for TAMU. Yeah, done.
And those well, at least the turnover, at least the one turnover, I can't remember if there were really two, but the one turnover was a killer there for sure.
Absolute killer. So anyways, that was what it was. Jaden Baugh, 18 attempts, 66 yards. 3.6 a carry, longest of 15. Okay. Vernell Brown, 6 receptions, 77 yards, 31 long. Sturdivant, 2 receptions, 53 yards, 27 long. Trey Wilson, hey, he showed up.
Yeah.
Couple targets.
He did. Nice game, actually. Nice game from
right?
him.
Solid. 3 receptions, 45 yards, 25 long. I know some people would disagree with me on this, but I'll take Trey Wilson in the slot in a quick slant all day long and twice on Sunday.
Agree. I totally agree with that.
Oh, okay. He's just there. He's reliable and anyways, 4 targets, 3 receptions. He did his job, did the best he can when the ball was thrown to him. So there you go. Outside of that, really interesting because, obviously the Gators struck first. And that's one thing I love. When we get the ball, okay, and you strike first and you send a message, phenomenal. 8 plays, 75 yards drive on the opening possession. You go, we're cooking. We got some good grease in the pan, right? We got some bacon up. We got some good stuff going. But then I love the variation to Amir Jackson. By the way, another fun fact, Amir Jackson's first career touchdown. Good job, Amir.
Agreed.
So 14 points in the first quarter, be 9.24 yards per play in the first quarter. You want to take a wild guess what it was after that? Quarters 2, 3, and 4?
Yeah, I believe I saw this stat, 3.67.
2.59 and 3 points.
Whoa. Worse than I remembered. Okay.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, not good.
Exactly. So obviously they exchanged field goals in the third quarter because again, third quarter, 3 field goals. I'm sorry, 1 field goal each, 3-3, right? So that's it. Again, you figure TAMU's going to make a field goal. Okay, we can come down. Okay, we can cut the lead. We're really close, right? And then what do? We have a 9-play, 47-yard drive that ends in a field goal. Okay, it was still 24-17, manageable. Oh, and by the way, fun fact number 4 on the night. That field goal by Trey was his 44th of his career, moving him to 4th place all-time in school history. So good job, Trey.
Nice.
Awesome.
Good job, Trey. Love that he has not missed one since that debacle on opening night. Literally,
I couldn't have said it better myself. I literally my notes.
Not trying to jinx the kid, knocking on wood right now, literally knocking, but absolutely love that he has been perfect, and everything has been like down the middle too. Like he is it's like he's on a mission after missing those 3, man. He's like, I'm not missing again. I love it. Oh,
you can tell he's locked in. He's zoned in 100%. But then again, we go back to the same old, right? Look at the concepts. Horizontal throws. I love what I'm not going to repeat it because I had similar notes regarding what they did as far as press man coverage, moving it to a cover 1, cover 2, and then they go, oh, okay, so wait, Jay Bateman goes, wait, he is just doing the same thing. And for those of you who don't know, Jay Bateman used to be on the defensive side of the football in orange and blue a couple of years ago.
Sure.
So that is what it is. So again, why is it that they're going vertical yet no one's open? Because DBs and corners and safeties get to sit and go, yeah, go ahead, throw it. We know where you're going. Very, very
Sure.
predictable. Okay.
Right.
When the defense expects it and they sit on a route, make it seem like no one's open, guess what? That's where you add in some creativity, some imagination, some ingenuity, some variation. Oh, yeah, right. I'm still eating great value, frostbitten vanilla with a lot of high fructose corn syrup. None. No variation. It's ridiculous. Nope. Okay. Especially when you look at Austin Barber, 0 PFF, 0.0000 to the nth degree.
I mean, it should have been negative, honestly. Sorry, but it doesn't go negative, but it should have been negative. It was bad.
Yes.
It was bad.
Got blown up by Howell over and over and over again. And how, you know what? If I'm a coach or an OC, I'm going, you know what? My guy's getting blown up. We got to help him out. We got to help him out. Let's try something a little different. Let's try going away from that side. Let's try speeding up tempo. Let's try misdirection. Let's try something to alleviate the bleeding.
How about move the tight end to that side since we're always in 11 personnel at a minimum? How about putting the running back on that side to chip block? Something.
What a concept. Yeah. What a concept. But no, we cannot adjust to the simplest of things. Now, again, will it work? You don't know. You never know until you try it, because that's also part of coaching. Coaching is problem solving, right?
Well, Randy, you just got to execute better. That's what it comes down to.
Oh man, I know. And for whatever reason, we clearly have an issue with executing. So you mean to tell me the past 4 years it's all been about execution? Anyway, so
don't even get me started.
Exactly. Outside of the first quarter, exciting. I hate that the defense caved in a little bit in the first quarter, but that was what it was. The rest of the game, just absolutely despicable to know that of the 2 out of the remaining 3 quarters were scoreless for the offense. Unfreaking believable. That's all I got.
Yeah, no, it's well said. It's well said. Yeah, it's really tough to stomach. Again, you see a very smart defensive mind over there on the other side, and Elko, of course, it's his bread and butter, and you see him, do things that, adjust. I mean, he didn't even have to make halftime adjustments. He made adjustments mid-quarter that did well, late quarter, but still. And then we're cooked. We're cooked. The rest of the game, we are cooked. 3 points the rest of the game after he makes those adjustments. That's all it took. And again, it's just because we do not have anything to combat that, and it's just so frustrating to see. I don't have the words left in the vocab to describe it. All right, moving on. Defense, Gator Bait, get us started. What do we got?
Yeah, check this out. Marcel Reed. So again, Marcel Reed, very dynamic quarterback. I'm just going to leave it there. We know what he did last year with his feet. We didn't have any film on him last year, so at the end of the day, he torched us. This year, slightly different story. At the end of the day, he finished 16 for 26, 234 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and of course, the first play of the game, an absolutely massive atom bomb drop with a 67-yard pitching catch. Reed finished with a QBR of 87.66. So in case you're wondering, as B mentioned, lower than Lagway's, mainly because the fact that that interception and 1 less touchdown, that skewed his numbers. Yards per carry, 4.36, very respectable. We'd like to take out some sack yards, but by the way, we did not get to him. 0 sacks. So
0 TFLs.
And 0 perfect. You got it, B. Took the words right out of my mouth. 0 sacks, 0 TFLs. It's very hard to be put in a position where you're competitive, and we were for the majority of that game, but at the end of the day, we just could not get over the hump and get enough momentum and push on that side of the football.
But how wild is it? How wild is it? Sorry, real quick. How wild is it that we had a better QB rating for our quarterback and more yards per carry? More yards per carry when you adjust it for sacks again.
Yeah.
And we lose by 17 points. That's pretty wild. That's
Very.
pretty wild. Go ahead.
Data tells a story yet again.
Mm-hmm.
Yet
Mm-hmm.
again. Defense allowed 7 points in the first 5 quarters, or in the first quarter. I can talk really. First quarter in all 5 games this season. And of course, Saturday night they allowed 14, so that was a big break.
Yeah.
Of course, I mentioned our yardage, right? We had 9.24 yards per play in the first quarter. Well, guess what? TAMU had 13.1 yards per play in the first quarter.
Yeah,
Obviously,
skewed by that huge
that
pass,
bomb.
but yes,
Exactly.
yes,
Exactly. But I tell you what, at the end of the day, the defense did settle in, right?
yes.
Outside of, under 5 minutes to go in the fourth, but they did settle in. I thought that the way that they came out in the second, because to hold them only to a field goal in the second quarter was big because you figure, oh, we're going to get a little bit of momentum. Oh, I'm sorry, field goal in third quarter, 1 touchdown in the second quarter, but we're still within reach, right? We're going into halftime. It's 21-14. Okay, yes, TAMU's got the ball back, but if we can get a good stop, if we can force them into a field goal, right, the game's not out of reach yet. It's a touchdown. It's a field goal. It's a 2-score game. We're there. I was really happy to see the way that the defense came out in the second half. Big stop
Yep.
to start in the second half.
Huge 3 and out to start the half. I mean, you can't ask
3
for
and out. No, you can't. You can't. And then, you look at all the shakiness. The VB3 fumble, obviously that was bad enough as it was, but given a short field to only give up the field goal with 4 plays
100%.
to make it 24-14, yeah, it could have been much, much, much worse. So that is what it is. And the other thing too about this defense, and I'll call it a couple more things before my last point on the defense, is I tell you what, Aaron Childs had himself a game.
Yeah, he did.
9 total tackles. Okay. Brendan Bett, regardless of what we might think of Brendan, regardless of what our philosophies are regarding discipline, and of course what he did against USF unacceptable, had himself a game. 8 total tackles. Sharif Denson, Jaden Woods, Bryce Thornton, Cameron James, Miles Graham, 6 tackles to the cause. So phenomenal, 71 total tackles by the Gator defense in this game. And no B, in case you're wondering, I could not find the missed tackle report. And again, a big shout out to Jordan Castells, because that play, exactly when he came over in coverage, the timing and his positioning, that's I couldn't have said it better. That's what we expected out of Jordan in so many ways. And for those of you who are wondering, and remember Shamar James and what he meant to this defense years ago, Jordan was quote unquote the understudy, right? Because he was the quote unquote quarterback of this defense. And right now the quarterback of this defense is none other than a true sophomore in Miles Graham. He's the
Yeah,
one that
he
gets the
is.
plays called in
Yeah, he
from
is.
Ron Roberts. He's the one lining up guys. He's the one making the moves, and he is absolutely phenomenal. He's born leader. Obviously, his dad, Ernest Graham, great running back here years ago. That is what it is. But can't say enough about the load that Miles Graham has to do as a true sophomore. And here's the other thing too, B, if those of you don't remember, when he started at Florida, he enrolled early, he had back surgery. He had
Yeah,
a
back
minor
surgery in the
procedure done,
spring last year. That's right.
right? So he and that was a lingering injury from high school, but I was like, good Lord, please don't let it sideline him. And he has come back stronger than ever. And he's got a great football IQ. Love what he's done for this
Huge
defense.
football IQ.
Exactly. And the last thing I'll say about the defense, TAMU here iced, the game essentially to go 6-0 when you look at that TD run by Owens, but it came on a 12 play, 12 plays, 53 yards. You're going, okay,
Yep.
12 plays to go 50.
Yep.
That's not a big deal, right? Is it? Guess what? 8:09 off the clock.
Yeah, because all they did was run the ball for 3
Death-
yards of carry. It was 3 yards in a
Death
cloud
by
of dust.
slow cuts.
It was
Yeah.
old school SEC offense stuff. And in fairness, they got it. We didn't stop them, but man, I mean, talk about that's everything Napier wants to be with the lead.
And I was just gonna say, B, what did you say to me in text during that drive? It's like, oh my, that's absolutely that is how you control the clock. with the lead. That is how you run the football, and that is how you variate some of those run plays through the different gaps. Anyways, I digress. At the end of the day, the defense just got tired. They're on the field too long. They can only sustain so much from this A&M offense and that A&M front five. It was what it was, but still kudos to them. They played a heck of a game. They did the best they could with what they had, since there was no complimentary football second quarter on. That's all I got, B.
Agreed. And unfortunately, if there could have been some in the first quarter, which there wasn't either, honestly, I don't think there was any in this game altogether. Because when the offense was clicking, the defense wasn't, and vice versa. So I think that cost us. But despite the higher points allowed in this game, obviously the highest we've allowed all season by far, this was still a solid outing. Well, I guess not by far, by what, 8, but still a solid outing, as you mentioned, right, in many ways. So I'm going to start with the not so good here. Several coverage issues early on in this game where we flat blew the concepts and left guys wide open. Now, we have gotten beat in coverage this season many times, right? Happened a lot last week, actually, against Texas, where we got beat in coverage. That's not the same thing as messing up your assignment and leaving guys wide open. And that happened repeatedly early in this game. And that is a very different thing. That is something we saw a lot in the past few seasons from this team. A little less last year, especially as the season went on, but a ton in the seasons prior to that. We have not seen that much this year. Maybe once or twice where somebody blew an assignment, but for the most part, it's been pretty good. Like, these guys have had their assignments right, and maybe they got beat, but again, that's not the same thing. Now, we also got beat a few times as well, but that's more understandable. These are high-end receivers we're playing. The Latin daytime TV receiver, right? Mario Craver, right? We got some high-end receiver. You killed me with that line, man. I was laughing for seriously like 30 seconds.
I'm sorry. I had to, man.
Concepcion. That's great. It's good stuff. So that's going to happen. But what can happen is coverage breakdown, right? And that happened twice for sure that I saw on film. Once being the bomb to Craver, and I already mentioned it, Castell was responsible for the over-the-top there, and he blew it. He was not backpedaling near soon enough to cover the over-the-top ball. Thornton had the coverage responsibility, but Jordan was the safety net there, and he was not a safety net. He got cooked as the safety. That's not supposed to happen. No, and then the other one was the second touchdown pass, or excuse me, the only touchdown pass, but the second touchdown, where the running back came out on a little around, it's kind of like a wheel, but not really, because he ran around to the other side. It was like a wheel and a drag kind of combined. And he comes over, out, and then across the field. Graham dumped the route. I don't know if he was supposed to, but he dumped it off, like thinking he had over-the-top help. And there was no over-the-top help. And once again, Castell was theoretically the guy who should have been there if that was the correct play. So I don't know who messed that up, if it was Graham or Castell. I'll give you a hint who I think it was. But because Graham typically doesn't mess those things up. But I can't know, right? I can't know. I don't know what the coverage concept is for that play. But one of the two of them made a mistake, because Graham let him go, and either he wasn't supposed to, and it's his fault, or he was supposed to, and Castell did not fill the hole there correctly at all, because he was wide open, completely uncovered. And you just can't do that against any team, much less a good team, right? So those things were really concerning for me. The other thing that obviously was very concerning was the lack of pressure in this game. Now, this O-line is obviously much better. We talked about this in our schedule breakdown before the season, right? This is one of the best O-lines we're going to play all year, right, in terms of returning experience and production and everything else. But we barely even made Reed squirm in this game, right? He had all day in many cases, and he still had a lower rating than DJ. So what does that say about what we could have done if we just got some pressure? Just some pressure. I'm not saying we were going to get pressure like we got against Manning, right? That wasn't going to happen in this game. Let's be real. This is an elite offensive line, or close to it. That wasn't realistic. We weren't going to be able to do that, especially not without Caleb, right? Banks is out. You're not getting it. But we could have gotten more pressure than we did, and it just didn't happen. So if we could have just gotten there a little bit more, what could we have done to him in terms of his throws, his accuracy, his feel, his touch, all that stuff, right? We talked about what that does to a quarterback when you're feeling the heat. Very disappointing
Rattle the
there.
cage.
Exactly. Yeah. Rattling the cage. Don't even need to sack him necessarily. I mean, I wanted to sack him, but you don't even have to. Just getting in his face, right? Like we did all day with Arch, and you saw what that did. This is a different story. And then, by the way, what happens when you don't do that to Arch? What happened against Oklahoma? Yeah, did you see that game? 23-6. Just saying. Okay. Positive takeaways. Shaky start, but then we recover. Really settled in, started to play a lot better. Coverage got better. Run stopping and tackling got a lot better from what we saw early. And ultimately, we played very well the rest of the game until the very end when it was already over, right? Honestly, I got no complaints for 2.5 quarters, borderline 3 in this game. I really don't. I really don't. Solid performance. First quarter, not solid. Most of the second, I mean, maybe the first couple of minutes, really though, it was only a couple of plays. So it's nitpicky to say that. The rest of that quarter was solid. Third quarter, very solid. Fourth quarter, almost all of it, very solid as well. Right. So, very end again, that drive was tough at the end. Again, a lot of energy expended, time of possession. You mentioned it, right? These guys are tired. It is what it is. Last thing I'll say on the defense, shout out again to the linebackers on this team. Great tackling, great play reads, great coverage. What about that pass breakup by Graham? If Mario Craver gets that ball, he's going to score. He's going to get a touchdown. But instead, Graham is already retreating, but instinctually speeds up and gets over to the receiver, breaks up that play on third down and forces that field goal. Absolutely phenomenal stuff from a linebacker against one of the fastest receivers on the field.
You know, my favorite part about that play,
he wasn't in coverage. Sorry, what?
No, I'm just saying my favorite part about that play is the fact that you're absolutely right. But not to mention when Miles put his hand out, he just put his hand out where his hands were to break that ball up. His back was to that ball. Right, his head was to that ball. So great shout out there. Phenomenal call on that. Just wanted to throw that in there because
absolutely
Miles had no business to break it up, but guess what? Positioning with his hand, his body paid off.
Again, that IQ, that athletic ability, the stuff that he's capable of doing. I am so impressed by him and this linebacking core in general. Jaden Robinson had a phenomenal tackle in this game where he read the play out, sniffed it out perfectly, made a phenomenal play on, I don't even remember if it was an end around or just a running back that was headed to the outside, but just an absolutely outstanding tackle that saved a huge gain. I mean, these guys just continue to be great. You mentioned Childs and what a great game he had. I mean, this linebacking group, Pup Howard is hurt. Pup Howard is a great linebacker, and he's hurt, and he is not able to play the way we wanted to play. He is not 100%. He's probably not 80%, honestly. That's why he's not seeing the field a lot. And these other 3 guys we talked about it. Give me any of them, right? Just rotate them in, and they're doing it, and man, they are playing up to expectations and then some. I could not be more happy with this linebacking group. They are outstanding. Love seeing it. All right, moving on. Visor throw. Here we go. This is going to be shorter than I think you're gonna think it's gonna be for me. I only have 2, but they are a bit in depth. So here we go. I already discussed play calling, but I want to take another minute to talk about the design in the passing game again and why we are just so done with Billy in this role. If his receivers don't win one-on-one against the coverage, then Lagway has no options but to throw either a perfect ball to a borderline non-existent window or check it down. So think about that from a quarterback standpoint, right? Either my guy has to win his one-on-one matchup against a corner, which again, depending on how the corner's playing him, whether it's press man or 7 yards off, is a very different animal depending on the route he's running, right? If he's running a slant and he's 7 yards off, okay, cool, he can win that easy. But if he's running anything past 5 yards down the field, that's going to be a problem, right? It's going to be difficult for him to win that because the corner's going to be able to be there and react, assuming he plays it well, which a lot of times they have the ability to do, especially in a well-coached defense. So what's he going to do? What are his options, right? Not many. if the defense is playing it the way that they should, which initially maybe they weren't, and then they changed, and then we were hosed, and that's what happens. This is why you see so many short throws on the plays that aren't necessarily designed to be short from the beginning, because obviously we throw plenty of short plays anyway, right? With our screens and all that stuff. But we end up with a lot of short throws too, because nothing's open downfield. We have talked about this ad nauseum, right? If the defense schemes it right, we're not going to be able to throw deep because it won't be there. Or he's going to have to throw into triple coverage and send up a prayer, which is not a good idea, right? So when you look at it, this is just not the way that you should call an effective passing offense. It just isn't. Can it work? Sure, at times, but it's very unlikely to work consistently against any kind of a decent defensive coordinator or any kind of a talented defensive back and safeties. And it will always be a struggle ultimately against any kind of team that is worth any bit of their salt on that side of the football. Period. I don't care who it is. It doesn't have to be one of the brilliant defensive minds like we were playing this week in Elko, right? Again, last year, go back to what the Miami DC did to us. And it's not just about knowing what plays we were going to call and center in on them. They had us beat in coverage. Their guys were not good. That secondary was terrible last year. But guess what? They could cover us because we don't do anything to make it hard for them to. It's too easy to stop what we're doing on a consistent basis. Does it work sometimes? Sure. Does somebody blow a coverage? Yes, it's college football. It's going to work occasionally. Does the wrong scheme get called against the wrong play sometimes? Sure. It's college football, right? That stuff's going to happen. So is it going to look good and like it works from time to time? Yeah, absolutely. Is that going to happen consistently over an entire game or an entire season? Absolutely not. This is why it's broken. This is why it will never work, and we have got to get away from it as soon as possible. That's point one. Point two, time management. Here we go again. Rears its ugly head at the end of the first half. We run a play that does not get a first down. I believe it was a run. It was. Because it's the first play of a 2-minute offense. So, of course, it's a run because that's what you start a 2-minute offense with, right, everybody? You start a 2-minute offense with a running play every single time, right? Because that's what offenses do. Oh, wait, no, they never do that because it's dumb. But, yeah, that's what we do. God, it drives me nuts. Okay, and Billy lets close to 30 seconds go off the play clock because we don't get a first down before we then, or not off the play clock, excuse me, off the game clock. And then it finally stops after we do get a first down on the next play. Why? Why? We had timeouts. Burn a timeout. Save the clock. You're 1 yard from a first down. You're going to get it. You got 2 downs to get it, theoretically, even 3 if you want to, because you're close to midfield. What are you doing? Why would you not call timeout there if you didn't get the first down? Now, listen, you get the first down, you don't want to call a timeout? Fine. The clock stops. You got enough time to get the play in and only let a couple of seconds tick off the game clock before it goes. That I'm okay with. But you didn't get the first down. It was like 28 seconds of game time that went off the clock completely unnecessarily. There's no reason for it. It makes no sense. Conserve time. And then when you're in the timeout, call more than one play in that huddle. Genius. Call multiple plays so that you can actually run something that's known as a hurry up, and you'll get some damn points. I'm so sick of the ineptitude that this team shows time in and time out in those situations. And it's not the team's fault. It's the coach's fault. 1,000%. There is nobody at fault but him in that situation, without question. Not to mention what I already stated, which is, of course, starting all those drives with a run play. It makes no sense. It is asinine. It is bewildering at this point what we are even thinking we are trying to do. How we have gone this long without anybody forcing him to do something different is just totally beyond me. That's what I got for Visor Throw, man. Where you at?
I believe we can call Morgan and Morgan and call that offensive malpractice. Is that the term we'll use,
Yes.
B?
Yes, and we will win a lot of money on that case for sure.
Yeah. I don't think John and team have to put up too much of a fight there.
No, it'll
Um,
be an
but
easy one. Easy one for them.
but either way, yeah, I got a couple similar, but either way, UF's fifth possession, or as I call it, the punt gate incident.
Oh,
Fourth
yeah,
and
good call.
16. Yeah, 4th and 16. Punt. Great. After a series of very poor play calls. Anyways, I'm not going to go into that because B has already mentioned those ad nauseum. So we have a 66-yard punt from Doman. Awesome. He gets into one, puts his hips in it, right? Oh,
It
wait.
got a nice roll, but still.
Hey, I'll take a roll. Whatever. I mean, he got that nice roll on that Coffin's corner kick, but either way.
Agreed.
66-yard punt. That's great because, Tommy's not averaging the best, right? Sitting at around 43 and a half, 44 yards. But anyways, I'm like thinking, oh, great, flip the field. This is what special teams is supposed to do. Let's see if we can hold them deep and get them to punt. Oh, no, wait. Flag, face mask, bring them back 15 yards, right? But then
Well,
wait a
maybe,
minute.
maybe we don't know, but yeah, we'll get into that later.
Wait a minute. They have a coach that has a brain. And he
That they do.
says, hey, you know what? I can decline that, right? Or I can back him up and have him re-kick, right? Yeah? Well, hell, if he re-kicks, he's gonna be kicking out of his end zone. Let's put the pressure on him. Re-kick. Send him back. Now Doman's putting out of his end zone. And what happens? Terrible punt. Ends up at Florida's 43-yard line. This move got TAMU an additional 20 yards, B, of field position.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Extra 20 yards. Ridiculous. So there's that. On their seventh possession, so here's the thing. From a time perspective, my time span might be off. So full disclosure, I had 146 to go in the half. Based off the plays, we let over a minute come off that clock. And not to mention the
Oh, in
flag for
full,
time.
in full, we may have. I'm talking about just between the first down run and the time
Okay,
that when it finally stopped after the second down conversion to the next first down. That
I
was
got you.
my runoff. In total, it very well may have been that. I totally. I'm just saying
Yeah,
the time that was taken off between the first down play
fair.
and the time the second down play completed and the clock stopped for the first down.
Thanks for clarifying. So yeah, I had a minute and 4 seconds, 5 seconds taken off in totality
Yeah.
before we had to punt the ball. Unbelievable. DJ comes up to the, and again, I'm not blaming DJ on this because obviously he's getting the call in from his offensive coordinator.
Yep.
I mean his head coach. I mean Billy Napier. I mean they are the same person, and
Yep.
it's almost as if what 2 minute drill? We're just casual Sunday drive, no sense of urgency,
Nope.
all good in the hood, no need to get a move on. So very, very frustrating. Next point, UF trailing 24-17, facing a 4th and 6 from the TAMU 49-yard line. Let me back it up one play. Third down. What does Billy Napier decide to do? Does he pass the ball? Does he run the ball? He's going to run it. And then on fourth down, when all analytics say, yeah, let's go ahead and punt. No, let's pass it. Let's pass into a very low percentage pass play. Obviously, TAMU took over, proceeded to march down the field. That was what it was. But
That's after you run. That's after you run on 3rd and 6, of course, because we're between the 40s and going to go for it on fourth down. So let's run for no gain on 3rd and 6. But
correct. Run where you're supposed to pass and pass where you're supposed to run because Billy actually called an audible for once. But that's the issue. When he called the audible, it was against the analytics and against common sense that actually would have put them in a better position of success for that drive.
Correct, sir.
Hashtag numbnuts. And then my last thing on visor throw, Florida now drops to 0-14 in games away from Ben Hill Griffith Stadium against ranked opponents
Yep.
under the Napier regime. And that's it, B.
0-14. Yep, that's a good one. That's a good one. And you heard his comments about that too, right? We were spotting the ball, right? Oh no,
Oh,
we were talking about
yeah.
how hard it is to win when you're not at home and how
Oh,
much of an
yeah.
advantage the other team has. And oh
Didn't age
yeah.
well.
Did the SIG have to deal with that this weekend at Oregon? Oh no, he went and won by 10, by double digits. He went and won
Booyah.
in one of the tougher places to play in the country. But, moving on with his
Mm,
57th composite ranked team. Get the hell out of here. Garbage. All right. Hatchlings. I'll start here. Big, big recruiting weekend for AMM on this one, including a couple of Florida commits actually that came on visits for TAMU. I love TAMU, by the way. That's fantastic. We're going to replace Florida West with TAMU. That's
copy
great.
that.
Still no flips yet, despite the fact that they had KJ Ford was one of them, big commit for us. But they had another one too, but I don't remember who. There's still no flips yet, but they're coming. You mark my words, they are coming. Regardless of what happens with Napier and his coaching situation, they're coming all the same. This is the Grinch stole Christmas on this one. They are going to be. This is not going the way you want it to go. Kids do not want to see a team with this much talent losing football games at the rate and in the manner in which we are losing these games. I promise you that. So that's all I got for recruiting. Any updates from you there?
Believe it or not, on three, everything is staying the same.
Yep.
53% in state, 74% blue chip, no 5 stars, still 19 commits, currently 13th in the nation.
Yep. Good enough. All right. Let's take it over to Pride of the Sunshine. Get us started.
Yeah, so um, first of all, I'm really tired of seeing other teams and other schools cooking an alligator. I'm
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Same.
I'm really fed up. Like gator stew, gator fritters, gator tail, barbecue gator, gator creole, gator hash, gator burgers, gator kebabs. Tired of it.
It shows
Absolutely
it shows you
tired
that
of it.
we're still in their head though, despite the fact that we haven't been good in a while. And I'll take that we're living rent free in their heads though. I will take that.
Fair, fair. It's just amazing. People love to do the gator chomp. I mean, when the gators are down, just oh yeah, gator chomp all day long. Oh, let's grab a gator and put it on a spit. Tired of it, folks. Absolutely tired. Think of something new, people. Think of something new. Jabronis. Okay. Um, Troll of the Night. Timu playing Won't Back Down, followed by If You Come to Texas at Kyle Field. Come on. Unbelievable. Unreal. Next point. The return home for Lagway was not a good return home, to say the least. Okay. Lagway grew up about 65 miles away from Kyle Field in Willis, Texas. Started off very quick, obviously, had a great first quarter, had a lot of family there, had a lot of friends there. However, it just could not sustain. The offense was what the offense was, no adjustments. The Aggies changed their defensive looks and turned up the pressure. And at the end of the day, DJ was sacked 3 times, and we know the outcome. The last thing, DJ Lagway and his quote about losing. I'm going to read this to you. And well, first of all, I'm going to do it 2 ways. I'm going to read the quote from basically Billy, and then I'm going to read the quote from DJ as, Billy went first on the podium, then DJ. So Billy
Yep.
said, and I quote, "There's no quick fix here." I'm sorry, let me go to Billy mode. Well, there's no quick fix here. The best thing to do is just go win. We saw that last week. In general, here we got to stay the course and we got to keep going here. I think we got a lot of kids in here trying to do things the right way. We're close. I think we're getting better on offense, and I think the defense has played really tough and hard the entire way. Okay. juxtaposed with DJ. I kind of told my guys on the offensive side, especially, I'm not comfortable with this losing stuff. I don't rock with the losing. I don't like that. We can't get comfortable with this. It's not acceptable. I feel like there's a lot of guys responding to that, and it's not acceptable. And I'm tired of it. And I can't go on like this. Folks,
Yep.
we have praised Billy for the culture, for the structure, the organization. Scott Strickland has gone on to say so much as how if I want someone to create an organization and the structure to deal with this era of college football, I choose Billy Napier. Fine, no problem. But one thing that no one has ever said, ever, is I choose Billy Napier on the sidelines on Saturday to call plays inside the white rectangle. Nope. Sorry. And at the end of the day, as I've mentioned to B before, I'm surprised that this locker room is as together as it is. Is this the sign of a crack, a chink in the armor? Don't know. But at the end of the day, to hear this from the when we have not heard anything like this from DJ in the past year and a half. Haven't heard anything close, remotely close. But comes back home to Texas, a lot of friends and family in the stands, as I mentioned.
Yeah, he wanted this one.
He's absolutely fed up in more ways than 10. Will we see greater changes in the week to come?
Well said. Well said.
Yeah?
I don't know the answer
What
to
you
that.
got, B?
A lot of rumors in that regard, but we'll get to that in a minute. So great call out there on those quotes. I think that absolutely represents the closest thing that we've seen to a crossroads between the players and the coach here in this era as a whole. There is starting to be a break, maybe more than starting. Really questioning how long Billy can hold this team together with these performances in games that are so below the talent and expectation levels of this group. And I don't mean that they are not out there trying, but they are not performing anywhere near what they should be based on those talent and expectation levels. And Lagway is starting to get restless, as you mentioned, right? That is the mentality of the winner, what you just said, right? You are seeing that on full display. When you have a guy get up there and say, I don't do losing, man. That ain't me. That's not arrogance. That's not overconfidence or bravado. That's just a guy. That's just a guy who has a competitive fire and who is a proven and built winner his whole life. He doesn't know how to do this, and he is not prepared to learn how to do it, as he mentioned. And you're starting to see that collide with a coach that has had to deal with a lot of losing over the last 3.5 seasons. Now, I'll make a point here that you may not expect. Regardless of the fault of those losses, I'll put the fault aside in this particular case, because it actually doesn't matter. The issue here is when you have a coach and a leader of the team that is not on the same page mentally and with their mindset about something like this than your leader in the locker room is, i.e. your quarterback, right? Or perhaps even other leaders within the locker room on the team. If they start to feel differently, maybe not even start, if they do feel differently, right, about losing or winning, than your head coach does, right? If losing is a taste they can't get out of their mouth, and winning is something that they desperately need back, versus a coach that has come to be more comfortable with losing. Again, regardless of fault, it's just human nature. You do it enough, you get more comfortable with it. Lagway alluded to as much. He's not willing to get comfortable with it. He's not willing to keep doing it. Napier's already past that point. Sorry, but he is. 23 losses in 3.5 seasons. You don't have a choice but to become somewhat comfortable with it. You've done it too much. That's going to spell trouble. You can't hold a culture there between your leaders in the locker room and yourself if your mindset is completely disaligned on that issue. And again, it's not even about whose fault it is. It's just about a misalignment there of how your brain is operating when it comes to that issue. And that's a problem. And it's one that we need to fix at the University of Florida very soon. Very soon. Please pay attention. Please do something about it ASAP. I understand they may be waiting a week because of the bye. Quite frankly, I hope that's all. I really hope that's all. Because with the changes to the transfer portal rules around coach firings, if you're not familiar, we'll have a discussion about it probably next week during the bye.
Right.
There is absolutely no reason to not fire your coach right now. I don't know that Penn State should have fired James Franklin, but there is absolutely no reason we should not fire Billy Napier. And frankly, we don't need to wait for the bye week. But if you want to wait for the bye week, I'm okay with it. But you better do it next week. All right, moving on. Officiating. Move back, you suck. Refs in this game. Not great, but at least consistently not great is what I guess I have to say. They let a lot go. I mean, a lot go. They were, again, consistent in doing that on both sides. The biggest thing I'm going to call out here is multiple holds, and I mean multiple holds. I mean borderline double-digit holding calls on both teams in the run game, short passing game, multiple different areas, quarterback evasion, right? But whatever it was, they didn't call anything. I mean, the flag should have been all over the field, again, on both sides. Probably more on us, in fairness, than on them, but nonetheless, there were flags both ways that were not thrown here. Again, at least it was consistent. Not my preference to have it be called that poorly, but it is my preference to have it called consistently one way or another, even if it's bad. At least it was consistently bad. It's better than it being one-sided. I'll give it that. But only slightly, because we want to see a well-officiated game, and this was not that. Moving on from that, though, huge issue taken in the fourth quarter with a lack of review of the fumble that was called on DJ when he was hit and attempting to throw the ball. He was clearly attempting to throw the ball. Was it a fumble? I don't know. Because all we got was a full speed replay from a couple different angles on the broadcast and no review by the officials whatsoever to get multiple looks, any slow-mo, nothing. I can't give you my opinion if he fumbled it or not. I'm genuinely unsure. I have no idea. And frankly, that is completely criminal in a moment in the game where that game is not over. That game is not over. There is 4 minutes and change left. We were in decent field position to potentially go and score and then have timeouts remaining to be able to stop the clock if they get the ball back. That game is far from over. 2-minute timeout is still there, and you don't even review a fumble where the quarterback is trying to pass. I got nothing. That is criminal. That is absolutely criminal that we are not reviewing that play. It's ludicrous. That's all I got for my official review. What's your take?
Good review. I got a couple things based off of my film review and replaying the game. I had going back to your comment on penalties not being consistent, well, or being consistent, a lot not thrown. I saw just with my naked eye and my DVR, um, three holds on us that were not called, and
Hmm.
another four on TAMU that were not called. Because at the end of the
Wow.
day, we finished with 6 penalties for 54 yards, two declined. A&M finished with 3 penalties, 30 yards, one declined.
Yeah, for the
So
123rd most penalized team in the nation. But, okay.
yeah, exactly. So that was that. As far as this crew goes, it wasn't a spectacular crew, and I don't mean any disrespect to them. It was what it was. Lee Hendrick was your referee. We've had issues with Lee before, not just the way he looks, but Chris Snuggs over there at line judge, Jonathan
Just the
Bullock
way
over
he
there at
looks.
side. Yeah, he just has that look about him, right? Like, oh boy, it's like Ryan Seacrest back on Idol, right? Sit down, buckle up, dim the lights, here we go, right? So that is what it is. But anyways, I had agreed there. Watch this. No review on the fumble on DJ, right? Whatsoever. But what did they review on the very next
Yeah.
or 2 plays after for
Yeah.
A&M?
The
A
spot of
first
the
down.
first down, I know, is
Really?
ridiculous. Yeah.
Really? Wasn't even that close, but
Hmm.
whatever. Fine, it is what it is. The next one I had on Timu's second possession, Morrow, the running back, he was in motion coming out of the backfield. Okay, this is the one that actually cooked Castells that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
Potential
Morrow,
illegal motion.
what that's the thing, right? You can run parallel to the line of scrimmage all day long, but did you see Morrow take a step towards the line of scrimmage as the ball was snapped? Okay, he didn't reset, he didn't freeze. He didn't run parallel. He was moving towards line of scrimmage. That absolutely should have been illegal motion because at the end of the day, the player must be parallel to line of scrimmage or go away from it. It was close, might have been
Good
ticky
call.
tack, but at the end of the day, yeah. Um, and then meanwhile on the opposite side, right, Denson gets flagged for lining up off sides, which was declined because they took the yardage on the play. So that was what it
Right.
was. Yeah. And the other one that I had was on Timu's sixth possession. This was under 2 minutes to go until halftime. There was an incomplete pass right by Reed throughout across the middle to force the 4th and 5. They did punt, but however, on that play, I saw the play clock hit 00.
Mm.
I saw the play clock hit 00 for at least a half a second. It should have been flagged. I'm not sure if they in their mind they went 1001 and then he snapped it, but I saw the play clock hit 00s. I thought that should have been a delay of game, back him up 5, change the angle of the punt, but oh bother.
Fair enough. Fair enough. As always, appreciate your perspective there. Anything else on officiating?
No, sir. Good to go.
All right. All right. Moving on from here. Wrap us up. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
That's a great question. No frigging clue. Sorry.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Uh, hey man, wild start to the year so far, 2-4, right? At this point in the season, we thought we'd be probably 3-3, maybe 4-2, but we're 2-4. Mississippi State this weekend coming up. It's homecoming. It's cowbell. It's a 4:15 kick. Mississippi State is not the Mississippi State of last year, right? Under Libby, they
Which
have
is
more than
shocking because they lost talent. But yes, kudos to Libby.
exactly. So kudos to him. Napier's 21-23. As I mentioned earlier, 0-14 in road games. I, I I don't know. I don't know. Scared money clearly isn't making money, but it's losing a lot of money. There is no excuse here, but it's always followed by an excuse. We're just going to ditch spot the ball, right? 100%. If we are this much process oriented, then why aren't we process oriented? And then is there something wrong with the process behind the orientation of it, the process? I don't know. And truth be told, I don't know what the truth is anymore because complementary football might not exist moving forward. That's where we go, B.
That was awesome. That was a lot of nice Napier speak worked in there. I loved that. That was really good. That was really good.
Thank you.
I hope those that know Napier press conferences can appreciate what was just dropped in there. That was really good. Props, bravo.
You got it.
All right, I got a little different take here. From a team standpoint, as we already discussed, I think we're on the brink here. From my evaluation of what is being said and not said right now, so it's difficult to know what we can expect from here week to week moving forward. I'm really not exactly sure, right? I hope the players galvanize, right, around Lagway's comments and kind of, ditch what Napier's saying, frankly. But um, we're seeing coaches fired left and right in college football, obviously, all over the place. And yet Billy still has a job somehow. Again, I'm not really clear on it. I don't really understand it. The rumor mill is buzzing everywhere, right? I'm sure if you're any kind of a fan of Gator football, you're getting stuff in your feed constantly about what's going on and who we may or may not be targeting or talking to or possibly hiring or going to hire or whatever. It's all talk until we actually do at this point, right? And until we actually do something about who's currently here, right? I'm hopeful we make the right decision and move on soon for the benefit of the program and the players who want to be here and who are trying to put something together and have a team that can compete as soon as next season, by the way. And if we do this right, because there is a way, there's a path here, and I want to stress this, there is a path that if we get this right, if we time this right, and I'm not talking about firing Napier, I'm talking about hiring the next coach. If we time it right with the new portal rules and the transfer portal itself moving to January, that if we do things the right way here, we could compile a team, keeping core players we have now, bringing in things that we need from losses we might have, or just things we need overall, that we could make a run next year. And I'm not exaggerating in saying that. If we do things right as an organization, that's a real possibility that's on the table. I want you to consider that as Gator fans. That is not off the board in any way, but it has to be handled right, and we have to do it the right way. And it will not happen if Napier is somehow still the coach, which doesn't look like it's a reality. But the sooner he is let go, the better we are off to be able to make those things happen. Period. End of conversation on that. So let's hope after this week, regardless of result, I don't care if we win by 30, we should fire him. Period. End of discussion. Doesn't need to go any further. Napier should be gone after this week. I don't care how this game goes. All right, moving along. Keep it or pitch it.
Ew.
Last week's results. I'm mounting a comeback.
Ew.
I went 2-1. Randy made some aggressive picks, kind of pointing towards we might win the game, and unfortunately went 0-3. Tough week. So I am now 6-12, and you are 9-9. So you're still at 500, which is better than Napier. I'm 3 games under 500, which is only slightly worse than Napier, but we'll move along. All right. So our picks from last week was Florida West is number 5 in the nation in third down at 22.4%, while Florida's 113th in conversion at 34.8 on third down. Florida will convert at least 37% of their third downs. I pitched that because I knew we wouldn't, and you kept it. And yeah, we did not. Obviously, 1 for 10, 1 for 12. What was it? I don't know. It was bad. 1 for 10. It was 10%.
1 for 10.
Yep, not good. Florida West is 37 in the nation, averaging 195.4 rushing yards per game. Florida is 26th in the nation, allowing 99.4. Florida defense will hold Florida West under 135 yards rushing. Wow, we missed that one. We both kept it. We were both way wrong. 186 we allowed. Still under their average, but did not get that done. Lastly, Florida West was 42 in the nation in scoring offense, averaging 34.8 points per game. Florida was 26th in the nation in scoring defense as of last week, averaging 17 points per game allowed. Florida defense will hold Florida West to under 26 points on Saturday. I pitched that, you kept it, and I got that one right. Thus the 2-1 for me and 0-3 for you. So unfortunately, there is your breakdown of that. All right, moving on to more cowbell, or hopefully less cowbell. Mississippi State, let's go. Florida ranks 38th in the nation in scoring defense now after this game at 19.8 points per game. Ooh, what a difference a weekend makes. While Mississippi State ranks 47th in the nation in scoring offense at 33.7 points per game. Very similar to what Texas A&M or TAMU, excuse me, was averaging. The Gators will hold Mississippi State to less cowbell and under 25 points in this game. Keep it or pitch it.
It's homecoming, back in the swamp, big game. They're going to show up and show out. Keep.
Yeah. When it comes to the defense, I believe in them. I'm keeping it as well. 24 or under, you got it, or under 25, however you want to say it. Yeah, I'm going to keep that for sure. All right. Florida ranks 18th in the nation in time of possession at 32 minutes per game, despite the disappointing showing this week. Mississippi State ranks 131st in time of possession on their side at 25 minutes per game. Florida will control the clock and possess the football for more than 34 minutes in this game. Keep it or pitch it. Tough number here. Definitely think we will do well, but will we do 34 minutes?
Yeah, and that was a tough number for me. I was trying to figure out what that looked like in the games that we held the ball for 34 and the overall tone of the game. And I can't. I want to, but I can't be. I'm going to pitch it.
Oh, okay. I'm going to keep it. I think this is razor thin. I think it could go high 33s, and I might just miss, but I had to keep it because I think when you look at the way Mississippi State operates their offense, they're predicated on the run more than the pass. So if we can hold their run in check, which I do believe we can, then they're going to have a lot of trouble possessing the ball much at all. Okay. And I think because of that, we are going to be able to do it. I think it's our defense that controls this number rather than our offense. So yeah, I think that's what's going to do it. And I've got it as a keep, but man, it is close. It is close. And I might miss this one, but we're going for it. Okay. All right. Last but not least, Florida ranks 126th in the nation. Killing it. 134 FBS teams, folks. So we are 8th from last. I want to point that out in third down conversion at 31.6%. Man, what an offense, Billy. What an offense, buddy. Yeah, get out of here. And Mississippi State ranks 51st in the nation in third down conversion defense at 35.4%. The Gators will improve on their third down difficulties and convert at least 35% on third down. And this is going to tie into something in a minute here in this game. Keep it or pitch it.
I don't like the number. I probably should have changed the percentage points, but guess what? I'm going to keep it.
I like it. I'm keeping it as well. I think it's low enough that we can do it. I think it'll, again, be close on this number. I don't think we'll be a lot higher than this. Certainly 36, 37, something in that neighborhood, but I am keeping it. It may even come down to a decimal, but I think we can keep it. And to that end, let's get to the sim results. So we went 9-1 against Mississippi State in the sims that I ran. 9-1. So the game likes us to win. And if you recall, they liked us to beat Texas 6-4. They liked us to lose to TAMU 3-7. So it's been right the last couple of weeks in predicting this. And technically 5-5 against Miami. So it wasn't really wrong there either because it called it a coin flip, though didn't look like a coin flip, but nonetheless. However, what's interesting is the key stat did kind of ring through last week for the first time all season. So we'll see if it does again here. I hope this indicates the result, but we will see, of course. Some interesting takeaways before we get to the key stat. It expects us to shut them down defensively, which is possible because our run defense has been our better of the two sides of the ball, and Mississippi State runs better than they pass. So, in theory, makes sense. They averaged right around 300 yards per game in the 10 sims I ran. We also had an average margin of victory of over 20 points per game. I don't know about that one. I would not bet the spread just because of that, folks. Do not bet on the 9.5 point spread. I'm not advising that at all. Key stat though, for the 9 games we won versus the one we lost, the common stat, the common thread, there were a couple, but this was the one that was most obvious, if you will, is our third down conversion. We need to be north of 35%, as I put in the prediction there for Keep It or Pitch It, in order to win the game. This is something we have struggled with, obviously. And if we do in this game, we could be in trouble because the one game that we lost, we did have a -2 turnover margin, but we also converted at 31%. So, for what it's worth, interesting stat there. I think that's going to be your key. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll see what happens, but there you go. So with that, I think we're going to wrap things up here. As always, thank you for taking the time to listen to us tonight. We really appreciate it. If you like what you've heard, please hit the like button on whatever platform you're listening on. If you want to hear more, please hit subscribe, and I will turn it over to Randy to sign us off.
Absolutely, B. Great episode. Thanks for the therapy. And Gator fan, whenever you are and whenever you may be listening, thank you for taking the time, and we will see you around, Gator Nation.